Hello everybody and welcome back to another exciting episode of SS13 Mapping, where apparently OBS didn't want to pick literally anything up, and after looking into that, it was for some reason MP3 doesn't pick up any audio whatsoever. So during this entire thing I was busy talking and explaining things, but now I have to do post commentary. So anyway, I got this idea for a side project for myself, just because I'm bored sometimes, and it's Derelict13, as you can probably tell from the file name. Yeah, and it's about nuke ops going to the derelict. That's what that giant blob is. And throughout this, you'll see me stumbling around in confusion because I don't know what the fuck I'm doing ever. So there's nothing new there. If you've been with me for a while, you know I have no fucking clue what I'm doing at any point in time. So, sorry I didn't get around to the requests and suggestions in the first video. I am thankful that somebody cared enough to give suggestions, but, you know, that's just me checking headquarters, or rather the trenches. Whatever. I'm off what post commentary in case you can't tell, just a little bit. So yeah, this is about it's VG code base because their lighting is amazing. So that's why it's in VG, because I figured it's semi-horror, so why not just throw in some amazing lighting, and yeah, we can do it that way. So I lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, Derelict13. It's just a side project. I don't expect anything major to come of it. I don't expect it to become its own server or anything like that. That's just pipe dream thoughts. I'm already working on one big fucking project, but whenever I'm not working on it, I'm bored and I have nothing better to do. So I decided, hey, I have this amazing idea, Derelict13. So why not just give it a little side project go? So that's what you see me doing. Just oh, I should probably explain it more, because you know, I figured nuke ops comes across a derelict ship that's destroyed for various reasons. Could have been hit by asteroids, could be infected with a blob or aliens or a cult or whatever. The antags are numerous, but whatever. So anyway, the nuke ops, there'd be 10 of them, and they'd be stumbling across this derelict research ship, which is rather large for obvious reasons, because they're going to be stumbling about in a dark vacuum. I'm talking like fucking dark vacuum. And they'll come across various things. There will be surviving crew members, and I was thinking about a security force that could start somewhere on the derelict, and they have to try and unify everybody and call for help. It depends. I'm just working on the code that's already in the game. I'm not going to ask for anybody to try and code anything, because that would be stupid. For a side project that I do in my spare time whenever I'm bored shitless, bored out of my fucking brain, I'm not going to ask anybody to code anything for that. I've already got people coding in World War I. Or World War 13, whatever you want to fucking call it. So yeah, that's about the gist of my idea. Most of this video you'll see me just stumbling about. Anything weird that you see, I'll be explaining things in silence, because the entire hour of footage that I have here, which is actually sped up to 2 times speed, so it would be like a half hour for you guys, but the entire hour I was busy talking and explaining things and discussing nothing with myself. So if you ever see me sitting around or waving my mouse, that would be me trying to explain things to nothing, because OBS likes to switch its own settings, and MP3 as opposed to AAC audio encoding does not pick up actual audio for some reason. I don't know why, don't ask me why, I just do the map. I just do the map thing. So, I have a little bit of confusion about this, but that's because I've never dealt with VG before. The most confusing thing I would have to say would be atmospherics, because VG has like a bunch of different atmospherics things, like an air miner or whatever it's called. No clue what the fuck any of that stuff does. I just know about the old pumps. The old pumps and pipes. That's it. The Nuke Op ship will have a AI core. It's kind of like a bootleg AI, so I guess the AI can self-antag. The Nuke Ops are obviously going to be the kind of like a I don't know, I had an idea about forcing the regular antagonists into a semi-protagonist role, where the Nuke Ops would be able to choose to save survivors that they come across on the Derelict, or just shoot them or ignore them and keep hunting for whatever it is they're there for. So that was my idea, is to make Nuke Ops kind of have a different role than what they're usually accustomed to. I mean, they're allowed to just go in and nuke the place. I'm planning on moving the nuke outside of their ship that they spawn on. Not sure how I would make several rounds mesh together like that. I guess I'd have to start off with a Nuke Ops round and then have late joiners join as whatever antag I feel like spawning in as an admin. I'm not sure. I have the plans in my head for it being an actual game, but I already know it's never gonna be an actual game. Although I'd like it to be. It'd be cool to have people stumbling across a gigantic derelict spaceship that's filled with any number of things. But yeah, be cool to have the ship floating towards the sun, or random asteroid strikes coming, or xenomorphs attacking the place, or a blob destroying the place, you know. It's whatever. Here you can see me wiring up, I believe I'm wiring up the crematorium button here. Yep. Of course, I never had, oh, I'm getting text messages. Sorry, that's what that vibrations are. In case you even heard them. Probably didn't, probably did. I don't know. I have to, text sometimes. As in right now. That's what happens whenever you're a development leader of a team on a very ambitious fucking project. You have to take time out of whatever you're doing, drop everything, and figure stuff out. Because if I don't know what's going on, then nobody knows what's going on. But we're not talking about that. We can talk about World War 13 any other time. You can join the Discord and talk about it. For now, let's talk about, I don't know, unicorns and politics. Fuck it. How about... I've already gone over antags and twisting an antagonistic role to being a semi-protagonistic role. That's just me adjusting the doors. I end up changing the variables for all the doors to require a 0 access, aside from the AI door, which will obviously have its need for a command role. I'm thinking of making the captain spawn on the Nuke Op ship, but that can always be not a thing. Fuck if I know. Oh, and that's just me toying with the APCs, because VG apparently doesn't have its APCs named, so I don't know about left or right or down or up. So, that's just me toying with the APCs, because it doesn't fucking say. Oh well, what can you do? And you get to watch me toy with VG and build a derelict ship. Or rather, this is me adjusting the Nuke Op ship that they will spawn in and exit. And later on I make a little place for it to for them to gear up, like a smaller room and that bigger room. That's just me looking at the areas, trying to figure out if I have to wire doors or not. Because, you know, I'm just the most experienced person. But whatever. Don't like toying with power and atmosphere. And, what was the third thing I didn't like messing with? Power, atmosphere, and, I forget. Gravity, I think. I'm not sure. I was saying it over and over while I was mapping, but because this is post-commentary, because apparently OBS hates me and likes to switch its own settings all the fucking time, which is why I have an audio delay, and that's why I have bitrate issues, and that's why I have FPS drops, all kinds of stuff. OBS is just such a fantastic program to record with, but it's the only one that works. I could be looking into other programs to record with. They'd probably be much easier to work with, honestly. The only problem with OBS is its fucking user interface. It's got the user interface of Distant Worlds Universe. If anybody's ever played that game, they know exactly what the fuck I'm talking about. Great game! It's a fantastic game, it's just got really, really bad UI. So anyway, I'm wondering now, looking back on things, because I'm watching the stuff as it's rolling, I'm wondering if I could actually change the nuke ops to deciding their own command role. Not sure. I'll have to figure that out. But yeah, atmospherics, power, those two things are always a blast to fuck with. It's all going to be very confusing for now, but later on I'll have things figured out. Eventually, this will be semi-playable. Those lockers that I just placed down will be eventually replaced with racks with actual equipment on it, so there won't be any need for teleportation crystals or anything like that. It's a terrorist ship, and they're being sent to investigate a derelict that has floated around. Somebody in trenches, whenever I brought up the idea in the Discord, they said it's like Space Hulk, which is, you know, Space Hulk's a good equivalent, except it's Space Station 13 Space Hulk, which is always nice. Everybody knows Space Hulk is just a 10 out of 10 game. I didn't care for it myself personally. Deathwing looks okay, I haven't played it yet, but whatever. This will have the same ideology, basically. Come across a giant derelict and they loot it for stuff. That was me explaining that I'll be having tables be put there. There's a lot of places for tables that I haven't actually got around to putting in, so you will see a lot of empty space that will eventually be filled. The entire ship isn't going to be this empty. The best part about SS13 Mapping is that you get to see me make stuff out of nothing. The problem is that I already had this semi-made whenever I started recording. In fact, I started recording earlier, but then OBS was having an encoding issue and forgot to tell me, because apparently it doesn't like NVIDIA. So I thought it was recording, and it wasn't recording. So there would have been a lot more footage had I have realized. I was checking what time, how long I was recording for, rather, like the timer on OBS, and I opened it up, and there was a little error box saying failed to open encoder or something like that, failed to start encoding. So I was like, well shit, I've been sitting here talking to myself for no fucking reason for however many minutes, and then I record this, and it's like, well shit, I was sitting there talking to myself for no fucking reason for an hour and however many minutes. So now I'm busy doing post-commentary. I'm already bad at regular commentary, but post-commentary is probably not my strongest suit. So I'm just going to be sitting here rambling for the next 15 minutes until this video's over. It's actually really depressing to find out that all the audio that I had planned is completely fucking gone. But whatever, here's me playing with the variables. You get to see me mess around with all the variables and stuff and look at things. For doors. Doors are just the best thing in Space Station 13, right underneath atmospherics. If you want to play with variables and doors, it's fan-fucking-tastic. Later on you'll see me change the room where the lockers used to be into atmospherics, and then I try figuring out VG atmospherics, and then I take a look at the code and it's something about cheating with an air miner, and I'm just like, I guess the air miner makes oxygen? Not really sure. Somebody can leave a comment, tell me how VG atmospherics works. But until then, until we get to that point, you just get to sit here and watch me not understand atmospherics and figure doors out with their IDs, which is just the best thing ever, don't you know? Love adjusting variables because they're all compact. Nobody knows what the fuck is going on. Me of all people, I'm at the top of the list for not knowing what the fuck's going on. Oh well. I thought I'd speed this up because it's already a pain in the ass talking for half an hour, let alone an hour, while I try to post commentary, explain things. So you get to watch it sped up. Oh, and I changed some names, which is just great. Oh well. Depressing that I lost all the audio footage. Audio footage? What? What? Audio recording. Oh well. Now I know. Check all the settings before recording. I'm still trying to figure out the audio delay that happens. I'm not sure how to fix that. I guess we'll find out next time I record some Space Station 13. We'll find out if whatever I did fix the audio desynchronization that was going on. There was a little bit of an issue between the audio and the video not syncing up together, which was, you know, it's always fun having to deal with that, just taking one look at it and going, well, what a piece of shit. It's actually kind of frustrating, because if you watch any of my other videos, there's never been an issue with audio desync. That's me remembering that I have to do a multiple boxes for multi-tile doors. I forget a lot of things. It's hard keeping all of Space Station 13 in one spot in your brain. Some shit just gets thrown out. There's a lot to remember, especially whenever you switch over to the development side. Start looking at certain things going, huh, now I remember how that goes. Apparently VG is no different from the other code bases where you have to make multiple squares for mapping in multi-tile things. 2x2 and 3x3 and whatever, how big an object is. Yep, I don't know what else to say. Just sit here and watch me map and hear my depressing dead inside voice. I've had people tell me that my voice made them depressed. I'm so sorry if my voice depresses you. At least I know I'm not alone. Wink wink, nudge nudge. Oh, that's me trying to figure out power. There's like 9 different ways to start up power generation on VG, on that TG station. There's singularity, thermo, the heat room, which I've hardly ever seen used. Everybody always sets up a singularity. For some reason they don't have Mother Tesla though, which is kind of strange. I saw a post on the subreddit one time about what was it? Somebody was mixing the Tesla and the singularity together and it made something. I forget what. I'll have to look it up. But anyway, I did get cut short though, but I didn't have much left to do anyway. The atmospherics part is towards the end. Right now it's just me looking through the power at the different ways I could have powered the ship. All of which would have been a little complicated for nuke ops, so I just hooked up some solars to the back, and all they'll have to do is walk in the room and switch on the SMES, the SMES, the Super Magnetic Energy Storage, I believe is what its acronym is for. Not sure though. Take everything I say with a grain of salt, because I know about as much as I'm talking about as you know what I'm talking about. And if you don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, well, there you have it. I forget what I was looking for here. I believe I was looking for, not sure, actually. I don't know what I was looking for. I think I was looking for, air vents for oxygen outflow. And then I was going to look at how to make the ship have oxygen flow to different places, if it's any different. Probably not, I'll have to look into that too. Between now and the next mapping video, I'll have to look into how the atmospherics goes on VG. Maybe I'll ask some people, I don't know. We'll have to see. Or you can comment and tell me, you can, if you're an atmospherics person on VG, if you like fucking with atmosphere as much as everybody else hates it, or if you know it and you just don't mess with it, go ahead and drop a comment. Tell me how to hook up some atmosphere. How about it? That's just me taking another peek, making sure nobody said anything in the Discord, as they did earlier in this video to interrupt me. You know who you are. I doubt they'll even be watching this. Oh well, I get to talk shit and nobody knows. It's the best thing. Meanwhile, somebody goes and points the finger at this video. He was talking shit. Though I know none of my viewers watching this would ever do that. Right? You bunch of shitters. That's right, I'm talking to you. You know who you are. Oh, that's me trying to figure out atmospherics, which is just so confusing. It's confusing as a player, let alone having to hook the fucker up. And if you haven't noticed, I don't have the gigantic amount of space that I would normally have. So I'm trying to figure out how I would shove atmospherics into a tiny box like that. Really not sure, actually. If you've ever seen the, oh, I lost my train of thought. Yep, it's gone. Well, rip. Don't you just love when that happens? You'll be in the middle of a nice tangent and just lose your shit. I believe that was me looking at the code for the different pumps. I'm not sure though. It's hard to see things. I have a tiny box. I have to provide post-commentary with a tiny box where the video is actually playing. It's like a whole 2 inches wide on my screen, so, you know, I can't see the fine details. I think I'd remember it since I just did it last night, but I was also sleep deprived whenever I started working on this, so there's that. If you were planning on seeing the rest of this, I was sleep deprived, so you have to wait until I'm either drunk or sleep deprived again before I make more of this shit. As if it isn't confusing enough already. Oh well, what can you do? Aside from sit here and watch me try and hook this up. Oh, this is me doing it the old-fashioned way, the lazy man's way, where you just hook some canisters up to pumps and make them shove air through the rest of the ship, or station, or whatever. Of course, I'm as confused about atmospherics as I am about everything else, and, you know, that's a good recipe for success when you just stumble through life confused. Confused and sad. Woe is me. I don't know atmospherics. Rip. Oh well, I'll figure it out one day. Someday, I'll figure it out. Maybe somebody will tell me, maybe I'll just bump into the correct way to do it. You never know. I'm not sure how to shove atmospherics into a tiny space like that. I suppose if it boils down to it, I could, where went that train of thought too? I could increase the size of the ship. That's what I was gonna say. But it's already rather large for a tiny ship. For a ship that it's supposed to be sized at. Like, I built the ship to be that exact fucking size. Like, it's perfect for walking around in. It's cramped, but it's not too cramped. It's like a submarine, which I've heard are rather cramped. So, This is me hooking up piping, and then after fucking with pipes for God knows how long, I see an error miner or whatever, the miners. And then I look at the code for those because I've never heard of an air miner before, and it says something about cheating, so I'm like, I wonder how I hook this up to the rest of the ship. Oh well, somebody will tell me eventually. Maybe I can ask about it. If you can tell by the time, it was rather early in the morning. Like I always choose to record at like 3 or 4 in the morning. That's the best hours. It's the witching hours. Best time to record and talk and upload things and map whenever you're sleep deprived. Just fucking 4 in the morning, the witching hours. Whenever the werewolves come out and the witches are casting their spells and we burn them at the fucking stake like the sons of bitches they are. That's whenever I sit down and map. So, what I'm basically saying is, I could be a productive member of society and go burn witches at 3 or 4 in the morning, but instead I'm sitting here fucking with Space Station 13, trying to learn a new code base's stuff. It isn't very much different from TG, honestly. Looking at everything, like, the way stuff operates, it isn't that different from TG. It's just, confusing, as it always is. In case you can't tell by all the different shit I have to do just to see different layers, then you'll know. It's confusing. I would also make carbon dioxide filters just filter out in space, since I don't really need the atmospherics to pump it back in. I would just, if the air miners do what I think they do and create oxygen indefinitely, then all I would need to do is just filter the carbon dioxide out of the air and shove it into space. So we constantly have an air supply, and the air that people are breathing out just gets shit out into space somewhere. Which is fine, Could make a little vent or pump or something sticking out of the ship, which I'll probably end up doing back near the solars. But, I do get interrupted here towards the end of the video. As you can see, I just chose to replace the floor in there with plating so I can actually see what I'm doing, because this is all a very confusing and new experience for me. Air miners, never fucking heard of that before the other day. Yesterday or the day before, I forget when I recorded this. It was at some point in time. It's whenever, man. But yeah, hooking up pipes and pumps and trying to figure shit out. If you do know atmospherics and VG, and you know what the air miners do, then feel free to drop a comment. Tell me the best way I could pump air into a tiny ship with the smallest atmospheric system ever possible, and you'll get a cookie. I swear, you'll get $1 million if you just tell me how the fucking atmospherics works. Anyway, enough stuttering. The end of the video is coming up. I can see because it's post-commentary. But thank you all for watching, if you did. If you didn't watch, that's okay. Fuck you. You didn't see that anyway, because you didn't watch, so fuck you. But if you did watch, thank you for watching. It's always appreciating, or I'm always appreciating people coming around seeing content, because I do it for free. There's no ads or anything. So, you watching it is the only gratitude I get. So, have fun, everybody. Just have fun.